Welcome, sisters. Welcome to our program On Target. And as usual, as soon as we start this program, you could determine whether you want to bat or whether you want to bowl. Pick up your telephone. Give us a call. The number to call is 442-0175. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything. Politics, religion, war, social issues, romance, any issue. And you could determine what we speak about. We will interrupt a sentence to take your call. Give us a call. 442-0175. If you hear us in a conversation, you don't have to wait for us to finish. You could come in with what you want to say. We provide that opportunity for you. We're on RealFM 91.9, 91.5. We're on YouTube and Facebook. We encourage you to share, like, share, and subscribe. When you do that, you will get notification anytime we're on. It's important. We also have a program. We also have a program on Saturdays on YouTube and Facebook, and it's from Studio Galaxy. You could always touch onto this one too. And we continue with discussion concerning what goes on in Grenada, the Caribbean, and the rest of the world. Today is the Thursday in the octave of Easter. Easter celebration is a long celebration for about 50 days. And you're well aware that Easter is the most important celebration in Christendom. Christians are very happy. They feel good. They say, we are an Easter people and hallelujah is our song. So today, while we wait our call, we will ask some questions. Receipts received from businesses and companies and government are generally not written. They are typed or printed receipts. In yesteryear, you used to get written receipts, and it lasts for decades and decades. But in today's society, the receipts that you receive from businesses and companies and government do not last. Are you concerned? Are you as a people concerned that you paid money to a company, hire purchase, business, you are given a receipt, and within a couple months, or based upon the method you have to store these receipts, within a month, the receipts, the writing or the printing on the receipts completely disappear. Are you concerned? There are some people that was affected. My brother John Galt in particular claimed that he paid government some money for VAT. And a couple, 2 or 3 years after, they call him down and they say, you did not receive that month money. So you have to pay the money and penalty. And he said, I'll go and get my receipt. But when he brought the receipt to the people in finance, there was nothing on it. Everything written on that receipt disappeared. And after the officer in finance looked at it, she said, we have no way of telling if that is the receipt you claim we give you. And we don't have you on record. So after much discussion, she said the best thing to do is to pay again. Are you concerned? Do you have this experience? If you have receipts like that, go back and look and see if you could identify any marking on it. whether you receive the receipts from any company, any supermarket, any business, any government that you receive those receipts from, go and see after a couple months if there is anything on the receipt. Is it right? Is it moral? Is it good? So that is one question asked. You could call me and tell me if you want. You don't want to react with me, but you could call me and tell me. The next one is Arisa. Several days ago, Arisa had I don't know how to call it. I don't know the language. You see, I don't understand the modern day financial language. Arisa had a shutdown. They was not open for business. It appears that there was a scam or somebody financially hold up Arisa. So Arisa closed down to the public. And when they reopened, they put a limit on the amount of money you could collect. So John Gold said when he passed through Grenville, he saw about 150 to 200 people line up Saturday morning after 9 o'clock to access the funds in Arisa. And he understand that they couldn't get more than $250. And when he passed back after 12, there was a couple dozen people still waiting. Arisa have not provided an apology or explanation for the public. Was Arisa scammed? And I'm using words because I don't know the words to use. I'm not accustomed with modern technology. I'm in the departure lounge. And as a result, this modern day language is not part of my repertoire. Do Arisa feel they have a responsibility, a duty, and an obligation to provide explanation to the members why that was so? Was an Arisa taken for a ride? Were they scammed? I heard a few weeks ago RealFM was claiming that they too has been scammed. But they're not paying. So they lost quite a lot of their files. Did Arisa lose money? How much 100,000 did Arisa lose? Did Arisa had to pay back to get the files? Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, good evening.
Yes, my brother.
But you're so right, because the members need an explanation and they don't give it. There is Arisa, and they should come in and call a meeting and make the members to know what is really going on. They just stand behind the door and just have people line up from the door right up past Grenville. We need members to know what's going on. Thank you.
Yes, man. John Gold said he had over 150 to 200 people when he passed after 9 in Grenville. Do people feel Arisa have a responsibility to provide an explanation to the members on apology? Is our money in Arisa at risk? Is this organizations leading the country into bankruptcy? You remember, Grenada lost millions of dollars in SGL. They lost millions of dollars from British American. I don't know if it's British American, Clico, or Clico British American. They lost money from Debug Bank. I don't know if the Arisa lost money too when we lost money from SGL. I believe NIS lost money too. Are we living in a scam world? Are the real crooks in this country involved in big companies that is so arrogant that they don't believe they owe their members an explanation? You closed down Arisa for many days. And when Arisa did open, we heard that there was a limit to the amount of money people could take out. No explanation. And then it's business as usual. Was Arisa involved in a scam? Was Arisa blackmail? How much money Arisa paid, if they paid, to get the system operational? Do you feel obligated to account to your members? You see, we have to be careful as a country, you know. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah, the AGM machine is not working, so pen and paper, they're using some things between Thursday up to the 3. All right.
The ATM machine is not working.
No, everybody has to just line up and pen and paper inside.
And they had any limit to the amount of money you could get?
Well, not, I didn't reach to that point again.
Okay, so I understand they had a limit to the amount of money they could get. So I don't know if they robbed the money in Arisa.
Well, to me, well, that's what happened, and I just don't want to say anything.
Now, these organizations...
That might mean that they're leading them to the downfall because the people threatening to take away the money they have. Inside it. All right.
You see, it's a very sad thing in a country when these people who believe them is Hefe, they become so arrogant that they feel they do not owe their members explanation. The credit union always want to boast they are about members. I changed my mind on them a lot of years. But how come you don't believe that you have a responsibility to explain to your members what happened? To explain to your constituents how much money you paid the scammers. Did you pay the scammers? How much money you lost? Did you lose the shareholders' money? You see, we have to be careful in Grenada, you know. The government of the day normally set the pace. The standards are taken from the government. And if the government's policy is that we will give you information when we think it is necessary, then maybe Arisa adopt the government policy. Now, why is it our successful individuals who are the helm in Grenada get so arrogant? Why? Why do they believe that they're in a new social class and the certification puts them in the class? So they have no more respect for the common man or the commoners. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good day.
Yes.
I don't tend to agree with you with what you're saying, because Arisa has been keeping its members up to date. Step by step, they've been putting out the updates and keeping us updated on what is happening with the credit union.
Then please tell us what is happening.
Well, if you would read, and that's the problem with Grenadians, we like to hear what somebody
You see,
has to say.
caller, I'm a member
They have
of...
been putting up they've been putting out updates, sir.
Caller,
They have been
please
putting
tell
out
us
updates. Update
what
number
is
1,
happening.
update number 2, update number 3, whatever. Right?
Where these updates are?
The updates are put on the website.
On the website.
Not only on the website, it's been floating right through on social media and Facebook.
All right. So, caller,
as well as SMS messages.
Caller, do you believe all Arisa members have access to the website?
Pardon?
Do you believe that all the members of Arisa have access to the website?
Mr. Pierre, in this
Caller, answer the question.
In this day and age of technology, Tom, Dick, and Harry, all Jukutu people have smartphones.
Okay, caller, thank you. And that is a level of arrogance that exists among these crooks and henchmen. All members of Arisa. So if you believe that you're going to put it on the website, does all members of your organization have access to your website? Have you done any work to educate your people about the new methods of communication? Have you done any work to educate your members about the new method of communication? And if you are able to access Arisa website and you knew what was taking place, please tell us. That is a forum you could use to tell us the radio. It have to be a level of arrogance that you believe that all Grenadians have knowledge about the technology and can assess the technology. It has to be arrogance. And I see that playing out throughout the country. And I'll give you some examples. A couple weeks ago, I spoke about NIS. From COVID to now, NIS changed the modus operandi about 4 times. 4 or 5 times. The old method was you went and pay NIS, the other form, you fill it up with the people's name that you're paying for and you hand it to them. They changed that method. You can continue to pay the same old-fashioned way, but now you have to submit the names through your cell phone or through the internet. And that method have changed about 3 or 4 occasions. So what took place is that a number of people, particularly people in the informal sector, agriculture, the construction industry, people with a few employees that maybe don't have personal management, they had a lot of delays in submitting the names of those who they paid for. So they pay. But sometimes the names come months after. And if you understand what goes on in the informal sector, sometimes they don't keep records thoroughly. So some people got sick, go and get a sick leave, only to be told your name not down. In addition to that, NIS was demanding that people who have to get their sick leave payment have to have a cell phone in their name. And that seems crazy. So the question is NIS an agent for the telephone companies? Now we have Arisa. Arisa is a big, powerful credit union that principally started with workers involved in government, public workers members, but have spread their wings. So they have a number of people in it and ordinary folks in it. And if there is something going on in Arisa, they put it on the website, as the caller say, and they believe that is satisfactory. Who here, who don't know, then the government and these organizations believe that they're stupid. How could that be? These organizations have to be more sensitive that new technology has not. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah, well, what about those who have the phone but they cannot, they don't know how to use the phone to get to the website? They must have a meeting with the members to know the publicly, the Chris Park or wherever, bring a call up meeting. Because you have who cannot operate a phone.
Yes, caller, you're correct. But these organizations, they don't care about that. As far as they're concerned, hell was you. And this organization is not doing justice to yourself. Always concerned when we are tricking our own people. That's what we're doing, you know. We're tricking and deceiving our own people. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, caller, welcome.
Concerning the receipts, what the people have to do is to make a photocopy of it when you get the receipts. That is the only way you could have proof, because the photocopy, you don't erase it as the receipts that they give you, because the paper is silky like, you know, so nothing stays. The ink don't last on it. Maybe just a week or so. So when you get it, you make a photocopy of it. So you have that there in case you have to make a claim, because when you go back in it a month after, everything is erased from the receipt. It's just a blank paper. So that is one way. So that is one way they could do. Concerning the NIS may have the fault, but a lot of employers have to be blamed for some people not getting the due diligence with NIS, because I fell in that. They're taking out the money for NIS and they're not paying it. So when you go to NIS now to get your thing, and that is why it's good to always go and get a printout. Like every month or every 2 months, you go to NIS and get a printout so that you know whether your money is being paid. The deduction that they're taking from you is being paid, because it happened to me. I speaking from experience, they're deducting the money and they're not paying it. Thank you.
Yes, caller. And I like the caller say that the only way is to make a photocopy of the receipts. So after you pay money and they give you a legal receipt, then it's the person who received the receipt responsibility to make a copy, because the receipt disappears. Shouldn't information should be provided to us how long that receipt will remain legible? Because you do something and the public don't know. The majority of the public don't know if the information on the receipt would disappear. And this thing is easy to talk about law, but it's also with the government. The government of Grenada, the Ministry of Finance, the NIS, supermarkets, the receipts that they are giving you over a period of time, I don't know if it's months or weeks, all the markings on the receipts become illegible. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, Mr. Pierre, good afternoon. How are you?
Great, man.
Well, Mr. Pierre, the first question is, if this thing become illegible, that should be told to the public. How long is guaranteed for? That should be told. And our employers and person giving us the receipts should, for that matter, that should be a status from government. Responsibility. Anybody that receiving receipts anyway, we should know how long the receipts lifespan is. And I could testify what the lady said just now there about people working in workplaces and workplaces take out their money and have not been paid. I have a brother that happened to, and it nearly happened to me with an employer who didn't want to pay NIS for me. And I insist that he have to pay the NIS. And if I didn't, I would have lose getting the liquor I'm getting. I would have get less by far because I work with that employer for over 3 years. And fortunately, I got him to pay. So it's truth in what the lady is saying. There are employers who are scrupulous enough who doesn't want to pay and who deduct the money from workers and refuse to pay it in. And the national insurance is aware of employers that does that. I want to say it again. The national insurance, the NIS, is aware of employers that did that. Some of them have been caught and warned. Some again get away scot-free. But they are aware of persons who did that.
Have you any experience with where the employer pays the amount? Let's say 10 workers involved with him, right? And he has to pay $1,000. He pays the $1,000. But the names of the individuals have to be sent through the internet. And as a result of that, the names were not sent up.
Well, I'm not too sure, but
that is Caller. Because NIS changed the method of people posting the names. Before, you pay NIS and you bring in the names the same time.
Yeah.
Now they change the method. They receive the payment, whether it is in check or cash. But you have to send the names through the internet. Okay. And that method itself, they change about 4 times. So particularly people who do not have, if you go with government workers, big companies, they have personal officers. But let us suppose you have a cook working with you or somebody in the construction industry, in the farmers industry. These people who are not knowledgeable about the use of the internet, they struggle. And sometimes your names go down very late or never go down. But it doesn't mean that the employer didn't pay. You understand that part?
Yes, I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
But the story I give you is
that's another one. It's another one.
That's
another situation.
What I'm talking about. But I could understand what you're saying because I had those two responsible. I wasn't deducting any money, but when the money was deducted, it was sent to me, saying how much it deducted from the persons, and I had to go and make sure.
Now that's another situation where employers don't pay, right?
Yes, so I am aware of that.
You see, if our own people is tricking us, then something has to be culturally wrong.
Yes,
because if you have, it appears there is a race to get everybody to use the internet. Well, you have to understand that if you have a race to do it, then you should tell people what time and create an environment where people could go and get educated to use the technology. Because not everybody in Grenada who are employed people could go on the internet and use it. Some people that employ people don't have a phone.
Yeah, that's right. Well, if I continue, a lot of people are going to get left behind.
Well, a lot of people are going to lose their money.
Right? No, Mr. Pierre, I understand or hearing that there is some good news around for cocoa farmers. Our cocoa is being looked at as a specialty again. But I'm wondering how much of the farmers, or how much of Grenada could benefit from that. For instance, we have 4 cocoa factories in Grenada, and half of the cocoa that Grenada can produce still is not harvested, still is not cared for, still the cocoa lands are still in dilapidated condition. And it's going to take a lot, Mr. Pierre, to bring back our cocoa, estates or lands holding farmers that have cocoa back into good production. It's going to take a lot.
You have a lot of hope.
Well, you see, I don't live, I never live in close to Hope.
I admire
you. Live in Marquis.
You might end up in Marquis. All that I hope.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I am following the hope that if cocoa is needed, Grenada cocoa is considered to be one of the best flavored cocoa in the world. But we might get tampered with that, because here now we have so much.
Farmer, you think the Grenada Cocoa Association and the Ministry of Agriculture ready for what you're talking about?
I was coming to that. You just hit me at the gun. I was coming to that. That I am not seeing the kind of preparation that should be made. For instance, the Cocoa Association have let go all the extension officers. They have no extension officer training. So it means now, if you have to go back and teach the farmers, you have to train people, because most of the persons...
Cocoa Association don't meddle with that. Cocoa Association still have a chat room where they inform some people about buying cocoa. They don't care about that.
Well, let me tell you, if we do not have proper supervision on the production of cocoa, it means that we're going to lose that opportunity. Because can tell you...
We're going to lose or we lost?
Well, I can't say we lost yet.
All right. Well,
yeah, because farmers definitely do not carry the responsibility.
Admire your spirit.
Right? And if it's not guided, we're going to lose that opportunity, I believe, for cocoa in Grenada. So please, let us hope that government and the Cocoa Association join together and have a good program to help us take advantage of whatever comes for cocoa.
Yes,
thank you very much.
Thank you. I've always seen, in my observation over the years, the Cocoa and Nutmeg Association always acting as if there is an agent for the National Democratic Congress. Always. I start to lose hope, even in the farmers' representative in the Senate. I thought that was the best representation we have had from immemorial. But even now, I start to lose hope. If I believe that representative could have made a dent, he would have done it already. I would have started to see some evidence. So I start to lose hope. I don't have much hope in the Cocoa and Nutmeg Association. To be very honest with you. We have a ready market. We cannot supply the market. And we have to zero in on production, husbandry practices, the quality, and we have the market. We don't seem to care. A number of farmers involved in cocoa, I observe that they're taking new interest in soursop. With high labor costs, the individuals are coming on the land and harvest your soursop. So you don't have this high costs. Yes, caller, welcome.
Could you give me your number, please? Personal number?
What do you want, caller?
Something I want to explain to you after.
Well, call me immediately after and I'll tell you.
All right.
Yeah, you have to call me offline. Call the radio station offline and they will give you the number. Right? Yes. So, these organizations don't seem to care. The NDC, the Cocoa Association, and the Nutmeg Association is practically one and the same thing. These organizations have representation at the highest level in the upper house. And they have not been able to draw a line between the commitment to the farmers and the obligation to the political party. So the Cocoa Association, the Nutmeg Association, and the NDC is one and the same. And even when NDC in power, the NDC have the worst track record in Grenada for agriculture. They have the worst track record. They just come in power in 2022. And look at some of the things that they do. They dismantle marketing board. They fired 31 workers from the Grand Bay Estate. They got rid of some of the workers involved in the cotton scale insect that bring harassment and harass and cause low production in the sauce up industry. Look at how they treat the Monk Rule Estate. And I've not heard the Cocoa Association grumble. I've not heard the Nutmeg Association grumble. And I've not heard the voice of the farmers' representative in the Senate. If you go back, when the NDC cut down Belvedere nutmeg, that is the Banda nutmeg that came to Grenada in 1883, I never hear the Nutmeg Society grumble. Imagine the Ministry of Agriculture come out with a plan to cut down Belvedere nutmeg. Extension officers ball. Those who was pushing agriculture and tourism or ecotourism, they shout out. They say Belvedere was the first place we plant nutmeg in Grenada. So he has significance of the tourist industry. The NDC cut it down. And the Nutmeg Association in lift an eyebrow. My friends still have hope. Still have hope. Well, I do wish that they wake up. They still have a system of writing when they're buying cocoa on the board. And they have a chat room. I'm trying to get into it 3 years now. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes.
Mr. Pierre, I know NDC do a lots of things, but this one always get to me, get to the marrow of my bones. I cannot believe what they done. I still have it in my heart, and it hurt my heart to know what the NDC did. As soon as they come into office, they dismantled the marketing board. What do you want the farmers to do? The farmers to them have land far away in the mountain. They have to bring their produce down. What about people like me who to eat? They say eat what to grow and grow what to eat. What about people like me want to eat something and you go to the marketing board, you can't get anything. They leave you to the street. You walk in the street to see if you can find a vendor. You bring the marketing board and it was so accessible for people like me and a lots of people. You go in there and it's nice and cool. You got AC. You take your time and you buy what you want. No, they close it down. They leave the one in Carriacou here and it's empty. It's half empty. You go in there. So as you go in there, you say strips and you turn your back and you walk away. That is not right. Look what they done to the vendors. They put the vendors out. They make them become poor. And they cry. They know when they say you're impoverished. It make them impoverished because they can't get $1. They need that money to pay the bills. They need that money what they sell to send the children to school. They got a lot of things. Maybe they have to pay rent, they have to pay mortgage. Why do you leave them? What are you doing to your people in this island? What are you doing to them? It is wrong what they're doing. You can't put people out. Ever since, from the days of old, my great-grandmothers and them and people who they are vendors, they're selling the produce from the land. And now what do you do to them? You put them out to pasture. Mr. Pett, this government is doing wrong things. It come and made the marketing board. NMP didn't mash it down. NDC doing it. Why? And I think it backfired on them. The people they had to come and do something instead of the marketing board. No, I think maybe they pull out. So now it backfired on the NDC now, and they cannot do it. Mr. Pierre, what they're doing is totally wrong. They go beyond and beyond, and I cannot believe it. You see these people on the road, they have put up their little shop. Okay, if you don't want them there, find a place for them. Find a place for them and let it go and sell the produce. Let them make $1. They're not depending on the government. They're not crying their trouble. They're making their own money. People used to pass and sell fish cake. They have a little stall. They do something. So if you don't want them to help themselves, you help them. You help the people. Mr. P, have a nice day.
Yes, and you see after they dismantle the marketing board and they fire 31 workers on Grand Bay Estate and they're trying to sabotage the source of industry, they go after the vendors. So you dismantle marketing board. You have people all over the island and more vendor style came about after COVID-19. Now you're dismantling it. Well, where you want them market their products. And the Prime Minister come up with this idea that maybe somebody sent and tell him in a dream, or maybe when rain fall on the galvanized, he get this vision, that you're going to get cold storage trucks to put you goods to go around and sell in the country, so you don't have no use for marketing board. How much farmers in Grenada that have the production level that they could afford a cold storage truck to go around the island? How much farmers? Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother.
Mr. Pierre, today is the month, today the 4th.
The 4th day in, yeah.
Well, you have a lot of people that don't get paid, you know. A lot of people don't get paid.
Well, they blame the public officers. They say the public officers sabotaging.
You understand?
They say you have a lot of money, but the public officers is unproductive and the union does quick.
I find it time to pay them people.
They say it is the public officers. They tell the people it's not them. It's the public officers that responsible.
Well, time go tell.
Yeah. You know, that is the government that we're dealing with. And when people speak about agriculture, I've always said the NDC have the worst track record in Grenada where agriculture is concerned. The worst track record. You come in office and you dismantle marketing board. And the estate you identify and set up the individuals, you put them on a high, that estate will be targeted for weed. The next summer, you get rid of 31 of them. And after you dismantle marketing board, you get rid of the workers on the estate, you killing production. You decide, I'm not satisfied with that. Maybe the government have some big companies that want to bring in goods. So they genuinely want to kill production in Grenada. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes.
How are you?
Great, man.
Great. I was just calling in regards to the whole Arisa situation. Mr. Pierre, that Arisa situation is not isolated to Arisa. This is a worldwide problem. The bad actors, as I would refer to them, are everywhere, every continent, every island you can think about. And their whole industry is to steal people, one, information, two, money. And the information is more valuable than the money. That whole industry is a $1 trillion industry that is operating there. Every business in Grenada needs to take action to protect themselves. And individuals need to take action to protect themselves. I would say Arisa did put out information in regards to what was happening to the institution. I saw it on TV, on radio, multiple radio stations, and the social media, as we call it. It was on all of them. What they're doing, they're closed, they had to close for an extra day. When it was open, they were open on Saturday, the hours they were opened, and stuff like that. I did not hear the part about limitation on the amount of monies that people can take out. I would assess that would be possible because there's only so much money they can carry or keep in the bank. I would go one step further and ask, what is GARFIN's role in what transpired with Arisa? Because GARFIN is the entity that is put together by the government, which is me and you, to regulate the financial industry, which is banks, credit union, insurance companies, and such. Yeah? So if we're looking at this thing that happened at Arisa, we as citizens need to start educating ourselves yesterday about this stuff. That is how permanent and prominent this problem is. The government have a cybersecurity task force that is helping us to navigate some of these things. And this people are available to come and speak to any organization at any time on that subject. Are you there, Mr. Pierre?
Yes, I listen to you.
So these people are making themselves available if you want to put a group together and you want to get some more information of how these people can help you. Reach out to them, the cybersecurity people, and they were willing to come and talk to you. The other thing, Mr. Pierre, is that I am personally concerned with is the elders in our community that has to navigate all of this. Yeah, I think you're speaking about it, but around in a certain way you use your language, and we need to educate them too of what it is and how it is, because these guys are so good. They would call you and speak to you and tell you all manner of things, and they will get the elderly people to give them information that they then in turn go and use to defraud them, if you understand what I'm saying. So it's from where I sit and from where I see what is happening, it's an educational thing. We need to educate our people, bring them into the 21st century, bring them up to speed. And I am thinking, some of the younger people, a lot of them is probably listening, can volunteer them time to teach an elder or the people who don't know how to use a mobile phone, how to create an email account, how to secure that email account, and how to use the technology to do the things they need to do. Mr. Pierre, technology is not going to go away. It's not going to get away. It's going to become more prevalent in our life as we get on and on. Now, everything is becoming digital now. It's not going to go back to paper. Now, the last thing I will talk about is the paper receipts that you get is what they call a thermal receipt. Thermal means heat. The way that we think it's printed is not ink on paper. Is they put a thermal image is projected onto the paper, and then something appears from the paper. After that paper is subjected to sunlight, ultraviolet rays and stuff, it fades over time. Yeah? So if it's a receipt that you need to keep, as the caller said, photocopy it and keep it, or if you have a mobile phone, take a picture and you file it away and you keep it. Yeah? Everywhere I go, that's what I get. Government, all government agencies, you pay them, this is what they give you. Yeah? The banks, the grocery store, just about everywhere you go. The only place you would not see it, maybe some of the smaller retailers that have some of the older point of sale system, that we actually get a piece of paper with ink on it. That does not fade. So if it's an important receipt, photocopy it, take a picture of it, or something to that effect that you can then now have something that you can keep for a period of time, so that you can, just in case you need to prove something, you have the opportunity to do so because you have taken the steps to do that. Yeah? But I really think the problem that we're having is education. The cybersecurity people I hear them on the radio all the time, telling people how to secure their WhatsApp, what's fraudulent, what's not, and they investigate it, and they're very good. They're on top of things. Yeah, one thing I would say about them, they're really and truly trying to protect us, but everybody, if you're not doing the things to protect yourself, it's going to all fall apart and fail, because the weakest link in the cybersecurity world is the human being. Mr. Pierre, thank you.
Caller, don't go, caller.
I'm here.
Caller, you don't believe that the government and the organizations in the country, because they seems to be pushing the technology very fast on our people. I know the technologies exist. They have a responsibility to also protect their people. And if they know the paper that they're giving is terminal, then they should inform people that these receipts, you have an option to get a carbon copy, because there's a lot of people in Grenada that is not savvy about this technology. You don't believe that the government and big organization have a responsibility to do that?
Yes, I do.
If you go to a lawyer, the lawyer still give you a written document.
Well, Mr. Pierre, you're absolutely right. I would take it one step further. I would say that the government should put policies in place to ensure that your data, my data, and everybody else's data in Grenada is properly protected.
And the government should have a backup file. So if you pay the government, and then when 2 years or months after they call, you say, well, I paid on such and such date. And they say, no, well, bring your receipt. The owner says, on you go, you get the receipt, but the receipt has nothing on it. Then the government say you have to pay again.
I agree with you.
Now, if we continue to push people like that, and I'm not talking about, well, when you deal with government and penalty, $1,000 ton $3,000 and $4,000.
Quickly, yes.
So now, if you continue to push people like that, people are going to break. Scholar, how could you understand an individual got a sick leave? The NIS say, well, you have to have a phone in your name. Buy a phone. Go back, and then the individual knows nothing about the internet. And when asked, he said, well, it's $150. He buy a phone for $600. He said, forget the $150.
Well,
do we have right to do our people that?
I can't comment on that, and I won't comment on it because I don't know that if that is factual, one, and I don't know anything about it.
That's why when I come on radio, I dare them to take me on you.
I wouldn't.
I dare the NIS, government, any one of them to challenge me.
Mr. Pierre, hold on. Here it is. It's me, you, with government, right? I would say we need to put these policies in place that the customers, me and you, whether we go to NIS, whether we go to the grocery store, whether we go to, there must be some policies put in place to protect consumers from these type of things happening. Yeah? Do it as a policy. Then how is it that the private operator is going to comply? Because there's nothing to make him comply. Yeah? But if there's a policy, if there's a consumer's rights put in place, right now, you have no consumer rights in Grenada. You can go and buy something from a store and you bring it back the next day and says, oh, it isn't good. And there's no obligation for that man to refund you his money. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what I'm talking about. If we don't have a policy in place, we leave it like we would say in the Wild Wild West. Everything goes.
Yes, thank you.
Do as you please.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what we're existing in. So all these little things need to be put in place so that there's a way of rules and regulation how everybody operates. And the one thing that scares me, Mr. Pierre, telling you that it scares me, seriously, is the lack of any protection of my information. You go in a certain place and it says, oh, you have to give them ID. You present your ID for them to see the proof that is you. They go in the back and take a photocopy of your thing or they scan it into a computer. Now, Mr. Pierre, now, who else have access to this information?
And every now and then they hack the computer and close them down.
Thank you, Mr. Pierre.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr.
Yes,
Pierre.
thank you, caller.
So this is what I'm talking about. We need to put protection in place. Have a great afternoon.
We continue to speak for some of the people that the government believe don't need information. That Arisa believe if we put it on our website, that is enough. We don't owe other people explanation. If you cannot access the internet, then hell was you. That the NIS believe that you must have a cell phone to do it. And companies after companies now, it seems they adopt the government policy that information is on need-to-know basis. If they feel you know, they tell you. When you ask, they find, well, you maybe unnecessarily disagreeable. Yes, caller, welcome, and you got a punch.
Mr. Pierre.
Yes, caller.
Good afternoon. This caller spoke very well. Listen to me now about the receipt. When a man gives the receipt, it is your responsibility to secure it and make sure it is.
Caller, don't do that, man. If I go to caller, not to do that, because I'm certain you're not a big heavyweight in the country. If I pay money to government and government give me a receipt, I expect that receipt to last me years. Come on, caller.
Any money you pay to government, you get a written receipt.
That is not true.
You cannot stop at the government.
Caller, listen to me. Pick up the telephone, call the Ministry of Finance, and ask them if what you're saying is true. Pick up the telephone, call any big businessman in Grenada or any businessman that paying VAT and ask them if what you're saying is true. We want to speak the truth. Yesteryear, it was so. You get a written receipt. If you go to a lawyer now, they will give you a written receipt. But government don't do that anymore. And we have to, some voices have to speak for the ordinary man. When you go in some countries and you hear they blow up some place, everybody, sometimes I wonder, what is the story behind it? You cannot continue to put pressure on the ordinary man, so it's not easy for a man to have a sick leave and you tell him you have to get a cell phone. But somebody need a beekeeper. If you want a job as a beekeeper, there is a vacancy for a beekeeper. You could pick up the telephone and call RealFM. If you're interested, call RealFM and they will communicate you to the person. A beekeeper, you could pick up the telephone and call RealFM and they will give you further information. A beekeeper is needed. You have a job for a beekeeper in the country. So you can do that. And as we say again, we speak about the receipts that we receive from businesses and companies and government. They generally have a very short lifespan. And they are not written receipts. And sometimes if you have any issue with the company, the onus become on you to prove that you pay. If your receipts disappear, you have to pay again. We was not satisfied with Arisa, the issue that they had, and they claim, I call a claim, they provide information for people. Tell us what went wrong. Were you blackmailed? Were you scammed? How much money you pay to get away from it? You know, we have to be careful because I'm sorry for a lot of elderly people in our communities. They're going to lose the money they have in Arisa, in the bank, and other financial institutions. The pressure placed on individual to use the telephone or the internet to do transaction, quite a lot of people is not prepared. And scammers going to take all your money in the bank. And I think today's harvest, and so from here, River Sally harvest. Thank you very much. We're back with you again next week for another opportunity to punch.